So today we answer a question we've all been curious about for a while.
What happens when the Cenobites and Pinhead occupy the same space?
Does the universe collapse into itself?
Do we turn into a giant, gross skin pillar?
Do we get sucked into a puzzle box and wind up in the labyrinth?
Let's find out with our interview from Doug Bradley from Astronomicon 2025.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? We're standing here with the legendary Doug Bradley from the Hellraiser franchise. What do you mean, where? Right here. You're the guy.
I'm the legendary.
You're the legendary Doug Bradley.
I don't know that.
First of all, Doug, I want to congratulate you on winning a contest you didn't even know that you were a part of.
Oh.
Are you familiar with the basketball competition in the States here called March Madness?
Oh, I am. It's silly bracket nonsense.
We made our own. We did an episode on horror
right. So
characters.
this is like horror characters mocking
Exactly.
each other.
Even though...
I've been in one of those before.
Oh, have you?
And I won.
Well, I was just going to say, for our episode, being called the Cenobites, we didn't actually expect this to happen, but we were super pleased that you won our episode as well.
Who did I beat in the final?
In the final, it was actually against Dr. Pretorius from Beyond.
Wow. Wow. Freddy didn't even make the final. There we go, folks. It's official. Freddy sucks.
All right, so going on to the Hellraiser franchise, everybody
Yes.
knows that this franchise, depending on how you look at it, is either about giving into desire, carnal pleasure, hedonism, all of that, or, on the other side of that, the dangers therein. So I would like to ask you if you feel that Captain Elliot Spencer, was it merely curiosity that caused him to solve the Lament Configuration, or was it something deeper?
Deep.
Much deeper?
Yes. In Hellraiser 3, we find him as a captive in the trenches in the First World War. And Pete Atkins chose that specifically because that was a vision of hell on earth, as Vietnam for America
Right.
was a vision of hell on earth. And that's specifically what Pete was making today. There was more discussion in Pete's original screenplay about Flanders Field, about Flat Trenches, which the producers made him rooted down because they said people don't know about the First World War. Which I find hard to believe.
Right.
But if they don't, maybe we should help them.
We absolutely should.
Now, the point about that is that Captain was one of the worst ranks you could hold, shortest life expectancy. And I got the answer. I'd done some research into all of this. I was already fairly well steeped in all of the horrors of the First World War, lions led by donkeys, and all of that, and the Battle of the Somme, the darkest day in British military history. 60,000 killed and injured in the first 24 hours. Millions dead, injured in a battle that lasted months and ended up with about half a mile of Ireland being dead. And on the first day of the Battle of the Somme was supposed to have been aerial bombardment that was promised to take out the German artillery. They didn't. They all went underground and got out of the way.
Right.
But as far as the British soldiers were concerned, they were going to meet no opposition. And they were told to advance across no man's land in battle formation, which means, line abreast and roar across. To do that, they had to get through the gaps in the bar, one at a time. German gunners, boom, boom, boom. Don't even have to move their guns. Next one. And then when they're in battle formation, you're just
breaking. So it counts. It take 100 photographs.
I watched a documentary on the BBC about survivors of the Battle of the Somme. All obviously not with us now, obviously. And there was one guy who was, I think, in his 80s, 90s then. And he said, I shouldn't be there. I should be underground in northern France. I should be with my former colleagues. Remember, these were very small, locally based units in the army. Everybody knew everyone else. They were brothers and sisters together. A roll call the next day was a process of name, silence, name, silence, name, present, name, silence, name, silence, name, press name, silence. And some of these, we're talking about teenagers.
Right.
We're talking about boys who lied about their age to get into the army. The whole thing is fucking heartbreaking. It really is. But he said that I should be dead.
Right.
I thought this was right before we were going to film Hellraiser 3.
Inspiration.
That's it. That's it.
The moral of the story being the horrors of
I
World
should
War
be
One.
dead. Now, part of the whole deal with Hellraiser is, the Pinhead is not a boogeyman. He's not hiding in the shadows with a stiletto blade,
Right.
waiting to jump out on you. You've got to have whatever is going on in your head to want to be interested in the Lament Configuration, to even be aware that it exists.
Right.
Let alone find it, track it down, go through that weird negotiating process where there is no price.
Right.
What is it worth to you? And then save cost.
Right.
And have the right motivation
Right.
to make the Cenobites interesting.
Well,
So it's a series of processes.
Sure.
And to me, when we find him at the beginning of Hellbound, we're not in the first one. No, we're somewhere around 1921.
Right.
And he's stayed in the British Army. He's still a captain. And he's in India, probably putting down the Indian mutiny. That's why he's in tropical uniform rather than the bottle green heavy uniform that I wore in Hellraiser for the trenches. And to me, up to that point, he's put himself through every degradation that he can
And this is his last resort.
to try to wipe himself out.
Right.
And finally, it's this.
Got it.
I don't think it's simply about, I think there's a standard lazy trope
Right.
in horror movies, especially in slasher movies. If you have sex, you will die. If you do drugs, you will die.
Right.
If you're black, you will die.
Right.
Etc. Etc. And I don't think any of those things apply in that case.
Right.
I think it's a much more complicated scenario,
Right.
a much more interesting scenario than a simplistic equation that if you pursue your karmic as a person, you'll be punished.
Is there anything that you think Pinhead desires more greatly than maintaining his position as Hell Priest at this time?
I don't. That's a kind of promotional question within the profession of Cenobite. I don't know whether that applies.
Right.
I had, approaching Hellraiser, I had talked to Clive. I knew that Pinhead had been a human being once. I had no idea when. I didn't know whether it was last week or last month or a few years ago. There was no backstory. So if Clive had anything in his head, he wasn't sharing with me. But one of the many things I picked up about the character just from sitting staring in the mirror the first time I had the makeup was a sense of melancholy. I tied that to that loss of humanity, like he was perpetually mourning a humanity that he couldn't remember. And for me, that also made sense of why he's so endlessly interested in people.
Right.
Then when
Almost collecting them.
yes, but it's why always he wants, even when you open the box, he arrives, now he wants to stop and engage you in conversation.
Right.
Because he wants to know about the dirty little cobwebbed corners of your head and your heart and your soul that even you don't want to admit. That's what he's interested in. That's what he wants to know about.
So there's no turning back now.
And then the hooks and chains.
Right. So at this point, it's been 20 years since you reprised this role. You played the iconic Pinhead through the first 8 films of the franchise.
It's nearly 25 years, actually.
Right. Is there any chance that we might see you down it again? Well, first of all, what do you feel about some of the portrayals of the character since your departure?
I don't really comment on those. A Revelation was offered to me. I turned it down. I there were a lot of things going on around Revelation and made it very complicated. I didn't think. I asked to see the screens. Given everything else about it, if the screenplay was brilliant, I might have said yes.
Right.
It wasn't.
To put it mildly.
I expected it to be bad. I did see it. I didn't expect it to be that bad.
Right.
So we'll pass over that. You know, and Judgment, and the Hulu remake. I quite liked, and I liked what they were doing with the redesign of the Cenobites a lot.
Yeah.
The redesign of the makeup I thought was very clever, and the complete change of palette from
I did like the sort of androgynous approach of this new Pinhead.
Totally so.
Yeah.
In the Hellbound Heart, the Pinhead Cenobite, Clive specifically says Frank had difficulty guessing gender. And his voice was light and breathy like that of an excited girl.
Right.
So that's fine. That's baked into the cat. I really scared.
Right.
You know. As I say, love the change of palette to those pinks and purples, kind of intestinal colours in the door. I loved all that. And Jamie is very slight. You know, there's nothing over across here. My Pinhead, he's very boom when he
Broad
appears.
Yeah.
We're
presence.
Cenobites. We're this. We're that.
Yeah.
We'll tear your soul.
Exactly.
This just quietly presented itself, and I thought that it was rather doll-like, childlike, which I liked. And I'm remembering that line from 5, the light and breathy voice. I wanted something. Okay. Something gentle.
You certainly didn't get that with the opposite.
Which is still going to be nasty, and is still going to be uncompromising. And it's going to
hit you in different way. Right.
Because that was what I went to.
Right.
And then it seemed to me they gave her a voice that sounded a bit like me, and I was actually disappointed because I thought, why have you done that? That's not what you're doing. Have the courage of your convictions. And I thought they didn't really know what to do with the sentence.
Right.
Like Chatterer had 2 shows and it was dark.
Right.
And they didn't. The shot of January standing in water. Beautiful shot.
Right.
Didn't go anywhere. Beautiful. So I was a bit disappointed. The basic story in the remake, roughly, so it's not strong.
Right. So, all of that aside, like, do you think that there's any chance that us fans might see you don leather and fins one more time?
I've never said I was done with it, but I'm realistic.
Right.
I was just turning 32 the first time I wore it. And I will never turn 32 again.
It's true.
Because say no.
So, neither will I. It's totally fine.
I've just turned 70. And, I think to a large extent, prosthetic makeup is in Alchemist's gauge. It is. I've always said.
That's fair.
I wouldn't close the door. I've said this, if I could wave a magic wand to close the book on this whole crazy adventure, it would be to do the Skull piece, which is the end. See, I have absolutely no reason to suppose this is going to happen or even likely to happen. So I am not telling you it's going to happen. So please don't go and tell the internet that I said it's going to happen, because I didn't say that. Carry on.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Doug. I appreciate it very much.
Follow your nightmares.
Kill her, Mommy! Kill her!
I bid you welcome.
Thanks for listening to the Cenobites podcast. If you like what you heard, follow us on our socials at Cenobites Pod on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review. It really goes a long way in helping us reach more listeners.
You can stream the Cenobites on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and many more popular streaming platforms and YouTube.
Questions or comments? Suggestions for future episodes? Contact us at cenobitespod@gmail.com. If you'd like to support the show and help us make it a better product for you, subscribe at cenobitespod.buzzsprout.com.
Until next time, keep following those nightmares.
I would have said, fuck off. You know? Well, how long have I been standing here? This guy didn't show up till after 11 o'clock. Lazy fucker. Absolutely not. No.